supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that, this court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said actually all of the defendants and then all 26.
Well, I want to go back and rewind a little bit. I'm going to show you guys some clips of some of the heated moments between Brian Steele and Judge Glanville, and you can really start to see the progression of their, I guess you would call it, relationship, or how their interactions really started to go south. Now, we mentioned before, Judge Glanville, he was all high and mighty. He thought he could do whatever he wanted to. He said, nope, I'm denying your recusals. No, I'm denying your motions for mistrial. I'm not even going to give you an opportunity to show why I should be off of this case. And then he got humbled and started to change his tune a little bit once he held Brian Steele in contempt. And Brian Steele went to the Supreme Court and said, hey, y'all have to, this judge is being impossible. You guys have to get involved in this case. Big Daddy Supreme Court of Georgia got involved, and then Judge Glanville, he kind of backed off and he changed his tune a little bit and was being a little bit nicer. But Brian Steele did not let his foot off of their necks at all. And I want to read, I know we already went through this a little bit, but I want to kind of remind you guys again of some of the language that Brian Steele is using when it comes to referring to Judge Glanville. You can just see that he's completely checked out and has lost a lot of respect for this judge. And he doesn't care what happens going forward, because can y'all imagine with Brian Steele being the biggest and one of the top criminal defense attorneys in Georgia, having to stand before Judge Glanville again after this? I mean, not even just Judge Glanville, anyone in the district attorney's office, anyone in Fulton County, they're going to say, oh, Brian Steele's in court. I already know how this is going to go. Brian Steele, he is burning all the bridges, every single bridge in this case. So check this out. This is how his supplement to motion to recuse Judge Glanville started. And even in the title, y'all, we talked about this in the last video. You see, he's already got 1, 2, 3 footnotes in this. All right, y'all check this out. Comes now, Young Thug, by and through undersigned counsel, and hereby timely files the supplement to motion to recuse Judge Glanville in the above reference case in support of this motion. Young Thug shows as follows. All right. And again, just in the title, or just in the introduction, we've got these 3 notes. What does this first note say? First one says, this motion applies to lawyers Love and Hilton in addition to Judge Glanville, as all 3 are material witnesses in the case at bar and will be called by Young Thug during trial to show judicial and prosecutorial misconduct. So he said, I'm gonna get all y'all up there, which is why, again, he's saying we got to get Judge Glanville off of this case, because when it comes for cross-examination, and I'm asking Lil Woody about this secret meeting, which I'm going to, I've told you guys multiple times, I'm going to ask him. Judge Glanville is going to be called. Who's going to be up there in his place? He can't possibly rule on a secret meeting. I'm asking him about that. Not only was he involved in, but he was the one who conducted this entire secret ex parte meeting. So again, Brian Steele is at their necks and he's not letting off, because listen to this. This motion also timely moves to recuse the Honorable Judge Krause. And we just talked about this earlier, based upon the fact that she sits on the Fulton County Superior Court bench with Judge Glanville, and that in April 2024, Judge Glanville contributed $2,000 to the Honorable Judge Krause's reelection campaign. Now, this is the part that was amended. Judge Krause did not donate $500 to Judge Glanville's campaign. So that was changed and left out, because that didn't happen. Young Thug's trial has been ongoing since January 4th, 2023, and therefore includes April 2024. So they've been behind the scenes and been involved since this trial was going on, and even while the trial was going on, right? And then lastly, he says, undersigned counsel derives no happiness when filing this supplemental motion. However, let justice be done though the heavens fall. And he says, actually, the heavens will not fall by unmasking unbiased and unethical members of the bar. Woo. Brian Steele is burning up all these bridges. The district attorney's office, Judge Glanville, the court. Nah, not really Judge Krause, because he still calls her honorable here. So he's putting a little respect on her name. But Fulton County in general, which Fulton County, I'm sure they're not taking too much. They're not taking too much to heart here, just because they know this man's just a defense. He's trying to win his case. But man, Brian Steele is not feeling Judge Glanville at all. This supplement to motion to recuse Judge Glanville, as well as the attached joint affidavit, Exhibit A, is timely filed as Uniform Superior Court Rule 25.1 mandates that the time for filing a motion to recuse shall not be no later than 5 days after the affidavit first learned of the grounds for disqualifications. All right. So that's a little bit of the intro to where Brian Steele and where Judge Glanville's relationship is right now. This is just the intro. If y'all want to see the full explanation of the beginning of this motion, you can go back and watch that other video, and we'll have it posted later today as well. But this is a scene that happened during the trial very early on. And again, you can hear that Brian Steele is really getting frustrated and upset with everything that's happening and going on in this court. Check it out and listen to what he says here.
Supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said actually all of the defendants and then all 26.
Woo, did y'all hear what he said? Let me run this back. Hold on a second. Listen to what he said about Judge Glanville. Now, where is this taking place? This is taking place right before Brian gets held in contempt. And he's upset about the secret meeting that took place. Obviously, he got all this information from Kayla. And again, I'm not saying that. She has said that herself. OK, she got all the information about what was said in the meeting Kayla gave to the defense. And Brian Steele is not happy about it.
Supposedly announced he's not testifying and he'll sit for 2 years, and then supposedly this honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly.
Ooh, he said this honorable court, right? And then what did he say? Let me rephrase that. This court. Oh, he said, we're not saying honorable court is gone. This was the time when Brian Steele had enough. This was the moment I'm going to point to as the time when Brian Steele knew what he was up against. He knew that things were corrupt. He found out about the secret meeting and realized the court wasn't playing fair. They're not being honorable. And he even changed his wording and said this court.
This honorable court, or excuse me, let me rephrase that. This court supposedly said, I can hold you until the end of this trial. Ms. Hilton supposedly said actually all of the defendants and then all 26.
And it turned out that this was true. We even saw in the unredacted transcripts from that secret ex parte meeting that exactly what Brian Steele heard, which makes sense because it was from Kayla, exactly what he heard was true. They told him, hey, we can keep you here. If you choose to plead the fifth, Lil Woody, we can keep you here as long as we want to. We still haven't even gotten through all of the defendants. We haven't gotten through all of the other witnesses, and you could just sit in jail for that whole time. Sorry. And here's another instance. Shout out to Law and Crime for this. This is when everything went down and Brian Steele got held in contempt. And Judge Glanville had some pretty harsh words for Brian Steele, which is interesting because y'all know Brian Steele mentioned in his supplement to motion to recuse that Judge Glanville and ADA Hilton and Miss Love were all like, hey, yo, I don't know. Why is he so upset? What's he talking about? Why is he so mad about this secret meeting? And now we get to see here with the transcripts coming out why Brian Steele would be so upset about this. But check out this interaction between Brian Steele and Judge Glanville. It gets wild.
We're in recess about 20 minutes.
I have a motion.
In regards to what, sir?
Your comments. I have a motion.
Okay, what's your motion?
Right.
This is the second time that this honorable court in front of the jury has addressed me inappropriately and wrongly.
Oh, he's heated.
Second time.
Look at him.
First time I gave the state.
Why is this only playing in one ear?
Of a song from a Super Bowl weeks before.
Hold on a second, y'all. We gotta fix this. I don't know why this is playing in one ear.
You all are real.
I think it might actually be this video, which is unfortunate. Let me see. I'm gonna try and refresh it and see.
We're in recess about 20 minutes.
Yeah, it's only gonna be in one ear, so I apologize, y'all.
In regards to what, sir?
Your comments.
Oh, okay, what's your motion?
Look at Young Thug. Young Thug knew he was about to get him. Look at Brian. Oh, get him, Brian.
This is the second time that this honorable court in front of the jury has addressed me inappropriately and wrongly. Second time. The first time I gave the state discovery of a song from a Super Bowl weeks before. There was an objection. You assumed that I didn't give it to the state. I didn't want to embarrass the court. So you were yelling at me and saying, do you understand me? Do you understand me? And instead of saying, do you understand that you're wrong? I sat here and I said, yes, Your Honor. That was to protect the integrity of this courtroom and the court. Now you say in front of the jury how unprepared I am. I am not unprepared for anything.
Okay.
No. I need to make a record. Your Honor,
Mr. Steele, wait a second.
Record.
When you keep delaying, okay, and that's what's happening to the court. You keep delaying and elongating and pushing out these particular our ability to present a seamless case in front of the jury. That's my purview as a judge. And I've asked you a number of times, you and your colleagues on both sides, to go ahead and listen to whatever it is you need to do, prepare me as needed. Now, I asked you those two particular questions because if they turned over the audio to you in discovery and you've listened to them already, then you either have an
Brian
objection
had enough.
or you don't have an objection. And I was trying to solicit from you whether or not we could just go ahead and just hear it. So you can imagine my frustration because all these little delays just elongate out our presentation in front of the jury. That's for your benefit, not for mine, Your Honor. So that's why I've told you all at various times during this particular case. It's not because I want to embarrass you, Mr. Steele. It's just that I'm trying to kind of keep this thing presented in a way that the jury can listen to it.
And this is bad on Judge Glanville's part because, and TLA talked about this in his live stream as well. Can y'all imagine your job being so heavily weighed on the fact that you can keep privilege, that you can be ready to go to court, that you can protect your client, and then you have a judge in front of a jury live in 4K for the whole world to see saying that you're unprofessional and unprepared? I mean, that's just not a great look. Kind of like what we were talking about with Kayla, right? Would you want your attorney on YouTube going on and doing interviews and talking about an ongoing case and saying, yeah, this is what happened. This is what happened. Hey, you want to come up on my YouTube channel? Most people probably aren't going to want to have that type of person represent them. And y'all said that in the chat. This isn't me just assuming. This is what y'all are saying in the chat. So can you imagine with someone on this type of platform with this type of, I don't want to say prowess, but with this type of position in Judge Glanville saying that you are unprepared and unprofessional as an attorney? Man, that's not okay. Not okay at all. And I get why Brian's heated.
What happened was, let me finish, and I'm making this for the record. What happened is, and I don't get embarrassed by you, but I don't want to embarrass you. I made an objection that some of these jail calls have a third party who will not testify. I objected to hearsay. The state said it explains the effect.
Okay, which call? Please call.
These calls, as you...
Okay, well then why aren't we taking them up beforehand?
The state just said, just now, these are the 3 additional calls that they want to introduce.
Okay, all right, well, then here's your response. I'm going to give you an acceptable response.
Well, I'm going to make my motion.
Huh?
I need to make my motion.
Judge, there's more to this than we need to listen to these calls.
Right.
Then I would have no, you didn't say that though. So I wouldn't have had that opportunity. But that's why I keep telling you this, okay? I mean, like I told you, forewarned judge, a happy judge. All right, so had you just told me,
so he's saying Brian needs to keep him happy.
We have not had the opportunity to listen to all of those calls. We've only been able to listen to 2. I want to listen to the other ones. And
I've listened to the calls. I know. I don't know what the 3rd one they're trying to do.
Okay, well,
listen. Let me just finish. So you presuppose I don't know what the calls are. Well, I don't know what the 3rd call is because Miss Hilton, who's professional, said I'll take a break and I'll let you know what it is. But the other 2 calls are the baseball game and at the chicken. They're discussing chicken wings, or chicken. I understand those calls. There's issues in those calls that you need to address. But I politely make an objection and say, Your Honor, based upon what you told me, which is what you told me, we'll take it up later. I wanted to raise it. You tell in front of the jury how unprepared I am. And let me tell you something. I am not unprepared. I don't appreciate the court telling me that. And
get him, Brian.
And I asked you, tell the jurors that you were wrong when you admonished me last time. You said you wouldn't do that. This is the 2nd time. And you know what it does to me? I don't care. I'm hurt because you're a court, but I really don't care. But what does it do to Mr. Williams?
Mr. Steele,
Great
I'm
point.
not trying to personally insult you or hurt
Oh, look at Judge Glanville, man. Get that BS out of here. And Brian even asked him, he said, can you rephrase that? Can you say that in a different way? Because I am prepared. I am ready. Judge Glanville said, you know, I don't feel like it. I think what I said was fine. I'm not really worried about it. Let's keep it moving. But Brian makes a great point. How does that look to Young Thug, who was represented by Brian Steele? And then you have this judge saying you're unprepared and unprofessional. Come on, man.
Due to Mr. Williams.
Mr. Steele, I'm not trying to personally insult you or hurt your feelings.
Disgusting.
Okay? You are a grown professional advocate. I am a grown professional jurist. And people say things to me that border on the lines of I could take action or not. You have certainly said some of those things to me during the trial of this case. I have let them go. So, sir, that's just the trial. That's just the trial of the case.
Apologize, Glanville.
That man's life is here.
And you know you're doing a fine job in representing him. Well, but you know what? That's just
he's not giving in
right now. But the crux of the issue is, Mr. Steele, and the representatives from the state and everybody else. What happens right now is I have to take a break in order to vet all of these issues, which I'm required to do, Mr. Steele. And that's what is kind of disappointing to me, because I have given you all this administrative time, all these breaks to go ahead and do this, and this is what delays the presentation of this case in front of the...
So he's saying, I was just upset, man. I'm upset that you're making me sit here and take more time. That's why I said that. Come on, Glanville.
I was
some
done with
BS.
the state did, and I'm not poking anything at Ms. Hilton. You would have said to me, why didn't you share those calls with him before? What, you were out all day today. We didn't start court till 1 o'clock. I would have shared them.
I know you would have.
But the state didn't. I'm not poking fun because I can deal with it. But
well,
the court then steps in.
But here's the problem. I have a problem with it, because here's, at the end of the day, I got to listen to a 15-minute call.
You don't have to listen to anything.
But
you have to make a ruling
yes,
on it.
But I have to listen to it in order to make the ruling on those.
All right. So again, Judge Glanville, he doesn't apologize. He says, well, you know, it is what it is. I'm sorry, man. But deal with it. You're in court. You're grown. Sometimes you have to suck it up. And they keep it moving. All right. There is one more case, or one more instance that I wanted to play for y'all. And this is kind of where everything just came to its peak. And this is where Brian Steele was held in contempt for finding out about the ex parte meeting. All right, let's run the video back.
Really getting yourselves cross purposes at this point in time. Sir, I'm telling you, you are at this point in time. You made some things out of nothing. I think that you're on very precarious ground at this point in time. So I'm telling you at this point in time, He's in custody. We're going to go ahead and start. You can represent Mr. Williams. That's okay. That's fine. I'll take up the other stuff as needed, but I'm not going to take it up right now.
Crazy.
I will not.
Say again?
Respectfully, I will not. I cannot.
Sir, you have to. Well, you're gonna have to do the best you can at this point in time, because you don't get to extort the court. That's what you're attempting to do at this point in time, sir.
So basically what was happening here is Brian Steele, he got arrested, or he got detained, I guess we should say, for being held in contempt. And then his co-counsel says, hey, judge, I'm not ready to move forward with this case. I mean, you basically just dump the full weight of this case on my shoulders. I'm not prepared to handle that. And not only that, but you're taking away Young Thug's representation, which he has a right to. This is
yes, you are. What you're trying to do is, I'm not going forward if I don't get this. You know, it doesn't work that way, Mr. Adams. And I'm telling you at this point in time, I would just kind of govern yourself accordingly, sir. I'm telling you, as the court, under these particular circumstances, everything will come out as it should.
Yeah, it sure did.
Sir, I don't have enough information at this point in time to address it. I don't. But I'm telling you at this point in time, there is nothing that was given, said, whatever, this morning.
If there is any accuracy to some of the information that we are.
But sir, I don't even know. Your co-counsel won't even tell me who said whatever. Okay. And the challenge I'm having in this particular circumstance is that is such a violation of the sacrosanctness of the court's chambers and an ex parte conversation. You're just glossing over.
Oh, talk about glossing over. Y'all hear how he talked about the sacrosanct? This is what Brian Steele was mentioning in his motion, where Judge Glanville was using the term sacrosanct when referring to his chambers. And that's the exact point that Brian Steele was talking about when he said this judge is acting like his chambers, they're above everything else. They're this holy set apart type thing, when he held a meeting in his chambers that wasn't even supposed to be held there. So it's interesting to see him talk about glossing over when he completely glossed over the fact that he held an ex parte meeting without the defense there.
Of the court's chambers and an ex parte conversation. You're just glossing over that. You're glossing over that.
Nasty work, man.
No. It's not, sir. Sir. That's not what happened. That's not what happened.
It is what happened, Judge Glanville. Oh,
I'm just telling you, that's not what happened.
Judge, respectfully, we are not obligated to simply accept that there's been no violation. We believe that there has been, and the only.
Okay, well then you've made your. No, we're not doing that at this point.
It's not even letting them talk.
You'll have a choice to make. All right, take Mr. Steele into custody, please.
Crazy, man. And there goes our guy, the lawyer of the year, Brian Steele, getting locked up. All right, let's get forward a little bit.
All right. Yes, sir, you certainly may.
Brian Steele said, I'm not done.
Mr. Williams does not wish to go forward without me being here. You are removing me against his will, my will. You're taking away his right to counsel. And you're conducting material parts of this trial without me present, and I can't learn about it by watching online. So for that reason, additionally, I asked for a mistrial. And I assume you denied, but I'd like you to deny our motions for mistrial. You denied the other people.
I've denied your motion, but I'll certainly take that under advisement, sir.
Wow. There he goes, man. Hey, listen, Brian, you can see so many key moments throughout this case where Brian Steele just trying to give some grace, just letting things go, letting things slide. And then it all came to this point, and that was it. And now this might be the thing that gets Judge Glanville out of this case. And according to the supplement to motion to recuse, could possibly get him some criminal charges and his bar card taken away. Hope it was worth it. Y'all give it up for Brian Steele, man. Let me know what you think. Was Brian Steele wrong? Is Judge Glanville wrong? Could this have all been avoided?